So Liberty Hyde Bailey, an American scientist from the 1900s, once said that anyone who acquires more than the usual amount of knowledge concerning a subject is bound to leave it as contribution to the knowledge of the world. I think it's everyone's responsibility to contribute to the success of the world. And sometimes even the most corrupt nations obtain knowledge that could help benefit other countries. I also found another quote saying that democratic leaders whose power is ultimately dependent on popular support are held accountable for failing to improve the lives of their citizens. Therefore, they have a powerful incentive to keep their society peaceful and prosperous. Whereas dictators have no pressure whatsoever to help benefit their nations, and since they obtained their power through force, they feel no obligations. This being said, a single ruler can destroy the hope and success of a single nation. I believe that isolating North Korea any more than they already are would be detrimental to global success, and they would no longer be contributing to the world. And North Koreans are already brainwashed the way it is, and by giving them more space, we're only allowing for a dangerous outcome. And many innocent people could die without the support of other countries. So, like I said earlier, many nations contribute to the success of the world. Countries trade their resources such as knowledge, protection, and technological advances, as well as their resources, in order to help their own country flourish, as well as help benefit the rest of the world. So, according to the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, in 2013, the Middle East accounted for 81% of the world's crude oil reserves. Imagine if they hadn't shared with anyone else, then there would be no advances. And if China had been isolated, the world would never have things such as paper money, immunizations, or even gunpowder. And since North Korea is already isolated, the way they are, they have no contribution the way it is, and we're all in this together. North Koreans have been brainwashed by their leader, Kim Jong-un. He monitors what is put on the news, limits internet usage, and many other things. He also controls things like the flow of information to his people through news and by monitoring what's put on the internet. So in 2014, Kim Jong-un actually put on the news that that North Korea had won the World Cup. And they went on to make up whole stories such as they played Japan in the first series and they beat them 7-0, and then went on to play the United States, beating them 4-0, and then China, and then inevitably they went to the finals to play Portugal, and of course they won. So to make this whole plot work, North Korean government actually found footage of old soccer games and put it all together and made their citizens believe that they had actually won the 2014 World Series, or World Cup. And we all know they didn't. North Koreans truly believe that they are the best nation in the world, and why wouldn't they? That's what they've been told their whole life. They've been brainwashed. And see, the problem with how brainwashed they are is that they're 100% loyal to their leader, and they can easily be manipulated. And this is really, really dangerous because, they could easily be manipulated into starting war. Although North Korea has minimal natural resources, and they're years behind on technological advances, The threat of war is always possible with a manipulative dictator. And let's not ignore the fact that North Korea has an unsettling nuclear weapons program. Since North Korea has so few natural resources, they rely a ton on other countries for their resources. So North Korea and China have a strong relationship, and just last year they spent $3.5 billion just on trade. And their trade has increased by 30% from 2009. So some of their official exports include metal, wood products, vegetables, and clothing, and then some unofficial exports include things like missiles and drugs. So basically, North Korea relies on China for everything from petroleum to plastics, as well as food to machinery. If the rest of the world were to isolate North Korea, they would lose valuable resources through trade, thus creating scarcities that inevitably could lead to internal issues in North Korea, such as riots, or, inevitably death. People could die if there is not enough food or resources for all their citizens. And in my opinion, I don't think it's right to allow innocent people to die just because of a corrupt leader. And to close it all off, it's everyone's responsibility to contribute to the success of mankind. I believe it would not make sense to isolate North Korea any more than they already are. If anything, isolate them less. Like I said, North Koreans are brainwashed by a power-hungry dictator, and they can't help that. And they have few natural resources to begin with and could not survive without the trade and help from other countries. And that is why I think that North Korea should be isolated less. Thanks.